Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, back again with another live show. Now this particular show is called IrixGuy's Walk Show. Because you can see I got on my dirty shoes and I got my crooked feet. But that doesn't matter because what it's all about is interacting with the audience. So if you're watching this at approximately 7:04 p.m. New York City time, that's right, that's that big city up there on the northeastern part, in the northeastern part of the United States rather, you can comment live, and I have the opportunity to respond feet on video to your comments and questions. So without further ado, let's get started. It's great great weather for walking, but it's there's a very high chance of storms. There's some hurricanes brewing, and that sort of stuff can create rain, that water that falls from the sky. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff going on. I'm still waiting for the DJI Spark drone. As soon as the DJI Spark drone is released, obviously I will get it and I will unbox it and I will thoroughly field test it without any sort of bias, other than the fact that I've been impressed with DJI's drones so far. I'll tell you what I think. I don't care. But another thing that I'm working on here on IrixGuy's Adventure Channel is a very tutorial heavy set of content, because I realize there's a lot of stuff that, from a technical perspective, many people may feel, that's easy. But it's easy for someone to say that's easy if they're the one highly proficient with performing that task. So with that being said, what I'm going to do is thoroughly, in a very plain English fashion, tackle some very complex videography and photography tutorial topics, because anybody with a little bit of cash can go out and buy a camera. And just buying a camera, whether it's a few bucks or a few $1,000, and maybe it's an interchangeable lens camera where you got a ton of lenses, and that adds more money to it. If you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter. So for that reason, I've been around the block on this channel. I mean, IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, the content started pretty rough. I mean, we're talking, back in the early camera days, and didn't know how to use the camera, and the camera was poor quality, but it's evolved. And what I'm going to tackle is how to do it yourself. How to get a camera and get the most value from your investment. And that'll be accomplished by explaining. Legit Drone says, what is the tip for keeping prop guards out of your shot? I have 2 gigs this week. Well, it's the easiest way to keep prop guards out of your shot, and we're referring to drones, by the way, if all the audience that's out there right now live. Prop guards are things that protect the propellers from objects like a tree or something along those lines. Obviously, one should never assume that they make the drone safer, because they don't. But with that said, they may enable the drone to better avoid catastrophic encounters with trees, etc. So, but they do pose a challenge, and that is how to keep the prop guards out of the camera's field of view while filming or taking still photos. One of the easiest ways to do it is to fly backwards for your shot. So instead of flying forward where the camera points, fly backwards, because that angle, when you're flying backwards, it'll almost always keep your prop guards out of the camera's field of view. Something I also do to better prevent the prop guards from entering the camera's field of view is, when I'm flying forward, what I'll do is, number one, I'll fly at a slower speed, because inevitably something that's filmed at a slower speed will it'll be more pleasing for people to watch. So I fly at a slower speed, and I angle the gimbal down, the camera down, so that it's not facing directly forward, and that I can achieve not capturing the prop guards in the camera's field of view by doing that. And keep in mind, in post-production, your video editing software, one can always go in there and retime the video in post-production. So if you flew at a very slow rate of speed in post-production, you can speed it up. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're filming at a slow rate of speed, better conserving or better prolonging your battery life, but you're capturing smoother footage, and then you just mess around with that footage in post-production. That's going to be part of my tutorial set of videos here on IrixGuy's Adventure channel, and also 400orbelow.com will be how to work with the footage that's been captured by a drone or by an action camera or a high-end mirrorless camera or whatever. How to work with that footage. Great question. I hope that tip helps, and actually something that hopefully I'll demonstrate in the field for my fans very soon. What else we got? We got a lot of people tuning in. This, obviously, if you're watching this at approximately 7:10 p.m. New York City time, this is a live show, so comment live. And there's a paper plate in the field. Thought it was a UFO, but it wasn't, because it wasn't flying. Or maybe it was, and maybe it crashed. Legit drones, best of luck, dude. I mean, just takes practice. That's my best advice. Practice makes perfect with this stuff. Expect to fail over and over, but obviously, if one does choose to fail, be in a safe location where drones are allowed and people aren't present, because we don't want a mistake that spreads more negative press in regards to the drone hobbyist realm. So keep that in mind. And I know it's weird, we're sitting here at a live show and looking at crooked feet and talking, but what really matters, does the content matter more, or does the visual appeal of the video matter more? Would you like it better if I was in my New York studio with my green screen and doing that, or do you think this is kind of cool? I mean, you can tell me whatever. I'm not easily offended, so just don't say anything that'll offend the viewers, because we don't want to, this channel is for all age groups, so it's not, nothing too crazy. So yeah, just walking through the grass, hosting a live show, and walking through the grass. So yeah, we've got a lot of good stuff coming. DJI Spark, I don't know, does anybody have any speculation as to when that may be officially announced and when it may, I don't know. I mean, it's just weird that they haven't gotten the cat out of the bag yet. So, I mean, the cat's out of the bag, they just haven't officially acknowledged it, nor have they haven't said anything. That's the bad part. But yeah, it feels like a hurricane may be brewing. I hope not, because hurricanes are not good. They're really not good. So yeah, other stuff in the news, and again, when I say news, I mean news that we all care about, not political news, not any sort of topics along those lines, but just fun stuff that makes people feel excited. What's everybody excited about? It can be anything. What are you excited about? Anything exciting, feel free to talk about it, and we'll share the excitement with others. Whoa. Well, this is exciting. There's grass on the ground, so that's always fun, walking through the grass. What do y'all think's exciting? Well, I got a story. I stepped on a piece of glass, and that was exciting. Had a piece of glass in my foot for actually for a few weeks because it was in there, and then the foot, like, not foot fur, but skin on my feet kind of like healed over it on my foot. And then it was like I was walking on glass, and the glass was between the callus that developed on the bottom of my foot and the bone in my foot. So it was like when I was walking, it's like I had something hard jabbing me between my bone and the hard callus on the foot. So that was challenging. But I got and I'm not a medical professional or anything, but I decided I was going to get it out. So got a sanitized needle, and I dug it out of my foot. So that hurt. And now my foot still hurts, but it hurts because I performed a self-surgery, and that was probably not an intelligent thing to do, but hey, it is what it is. So what's exciting for y'all? It doesn't have to be anything like that, but well, I've got something unexpected y'all are about to see here. You have no idea what it is. I bet you can't even guess. You cannot even guess. That is a magnolia. Look at that. Where did that come from? There's my feet, and there's a magnolia. Magnolia. So, a little bit of excitement for the live show. We will be entering the wilderness area more deeply here in a second, so you may see some wild animals. I actually did encounter a wild animal the other day, and it was just a cat. But the cat was definitely not domesticated, because he made this weird growling noise from when I was far away. And then I started talking to him, like, hey man, what's up? You know, he's sitting there like going through a dumpster trying to get some food, and I said, yo cat, what's going on? And he's like, he just makes this weird, like, wild growling sound. And I stood there for a minute, didn't want to freak him out too much, and then I walked closer and I said, hey cat, what's up? And he started making that weird growling noise, and then he started backing away. But instead of running away, this wild cat, not to be confused with Sean Connery, but this actual wild cat, a cat that is wild and doesn't live in a New York studio, he just started running away, but he didn't run. This is what's interesting about it. He hopped like a rabbit. So this wild cat had obviously been raised by the rabbits in the woods. And it was just like a rabbit hop, all 4 feet. It was really weird. But that was exciting. Also exciting is that on this channel, we never discuss politics, so that's a good thing. You can't even turn the TV on nowadays without hearing about politics. But you can tune in to IrixGuy's Adventure Channel and not have to worry about politics. So that's another exciting element of this channel. IrixGuy's Adventure Channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. There's some trash in the grass. Exciting stuff. Yeah, whatever happened to the thing called leave no traces, you know? Supposed to go out in the wilderness and people aren't supposed to litter. But now it's like people are like, well, they must assume that's the only place to put it. I think there needs to be something said to encourage people to not litter. And I don't think these signs that say, please do not litter, it's apparent that those signs are ineffective. Do you still have your Phantom 3 with big guards? And there's another question too. Let's see. My first time watching you live, can you please point camera up and look around so we can see what's going on? Looking at ground is not interesting. Well, yeah, I will here in a minute. That's actually the purpose of this show. It's called the Walk, W-A-L-K, Walk Show. And that's because it's all about, what's the word for it? It's all about walking. So it doesn't really have a traditional live YouTube format. Now I will have a lot of those with my green screen studio and fancy cameras, but this is just an iPhone 6s Plus with a YouTube app. So yeah, I may pan up here in a minute. I'm going to show y'all some wilderness. I'll show y'all the wilderness. Hold on. We will explore the wilderness. Maybe we'll see a wild animal too. Who knows? Never know what's out here in what's out there in those woods. You don't know what's out there in them woods. Them there woods. There's a lot of things out there in those woods. Well, we're about to go out in those woods, so we'll see what we got. Okay. Getting closer. Closer. You're going to start to hear the wildlife. Okay. Oh, I injured my toe. I sprained my toe. Ow. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Oh. Oh, my toe. It hurts. Okay, let's be quiet because we're going to hear some birds. You hear some birds and some other wild animals here. Listen to this. Here you go. Scary. There's something out there. What is it? What is it? There's probably some snakes out here too. Snakes. There's a bird. See him on the tree?